Okay, this is Dan again. This is my video in response to John's video reviewing my video of Stan's video. Okay, makes sense? So what I'm doing here is I'm reanalyzing Stan's first CTE shot, which is the one that John says is straight as an arrow. And I disagree, and I'm trying to illustrate that a little more clearly. It's a little bit of a lower resolution image, but I think it still comes through. So what I did is I just clipped that part of the video that was Stan's first CTE shot, and I blew it up, and then now I'm going to reanalyze it. So one thing you could say is, well, this shot isn't perfectly straight ahead of us, so it's a little hard to see what the angles are. Maybe the perspective is fooling our eye. So what I've done here is Stan thankfully does take one warm-up shot, and that warm-up shot serves as a reference shot to show what I think is a straight stroke. So we have something to compare to. We have a warm-up stroke, and then we have the actual shot stroke. So that's what I think is pretty revealing. So let me start the video here. I'm going to move forward, and Stan gets down into the shot, and he kind of gets himself oriented here. And I'm going to say it takes your first stroke to really maybe get locked in and make sure that you are where you want to be. So what I made as my first reference clock here is where I believe that Stan is just at the beginning of taking his practice stroke. And I'm going to come to that right now. Okay, so you see the little timer on the left just turned white. That's at 0.00. So where we're at now is Stan is down the shot. He's sighted it. He's about to take his first practice stroke. So let's just do that. Takes the cue back. Brings the cue forward back to the cue ball. Okay, so I'm going to rewind it. Back to the beginning. Now I'm going to zoom in. Oops. Now, his shaft is nice and bright, so that's something we can focus on. We're at the beginning of his practice stroke. The red line shows the center line of the cue, and the red line is right over the center of the cue. The yellow line shows, let's just call it the left edge of the cue. And so the purpose here is to see if he's able to stroke straight back and straight forward on his practice stroke. So I'm going to go forward. And you can see, yep, he's dead on, right on. So I'm going to back it up and go forward, back and forward a couple of times just to illustrate that. Right on that line. Perfect. So he gets a nice practice stroke. Okay, now I'm going to stop at my second timer on the right that just turned white at 0.00. Now we're at the beginning of the actual stroke. Okay, so I think I'll just leave it zoomed in here. Now remember, he just took the cue straight back along the red line. So now when the shot's about to be made, let's see where the cue goes. Okay, here we go. Whoops. Okay, first thing I notice, I'm going to go back and forward a little bit here as I speak. The cue goes to his left. Right off the bat, it shifts to the left. Right there, that's clear as day. Now the cue starts coming back. Stan lifts his head up. I notice he keeps his chin down very low on the cue, so he has to move his head up a little. Cue goes back, and at the furthest point back, that cue is nowhere near the center line of the practice shot. So I'm going to bring it forward some more. Okay, it goes very quick right here. As he goes forward, that's pretty far offline. And I'm going to stop it right there. Now, where we're at is he's just completed his shot, and we're at 0.00 on the third timer. Now what that represents is he's just making contact with the cue ball now. This is the contact point. Anything after this point is more or less meaningless. So I'm going to zoom back and show you that the 0.00 is the contact point. If I go ahead a little, you see the ball move. Okay, if you go back a little, there's the tip. So I spent some time here getting right as close as I could to the contact time, which is right there. Pretty clear to me, it's not a straight shot. So let me illustrate it again from this position. Okay, I'll start back at the beginning. Okay, here's a nice straight practice stroke. Straight as an arrow, straight back, straight forward. Show it again, straight back, straight forward. Okay, now we begin the actual shot. Right here. Pulls it in, right there. Now it's coming back inside, and it's going to whoop, swoops right there, pretty significantly. If you look at the tip, right now while that's happening, you can see the tip is moving off to his right. The fooler, I think, for John is he just couldn't see enough resolution, and what happens is he's very good at straightening it out. Right after contact, boom. See the tip goes right back on that line? Look at that. Right there. Within 4/100ths of a second, he's got the cue right back on the line of the shot. It's pretty amazing, actually, what can happen with these things. Okay, I think that's pretty clear. I'd be interested to see any follow-up comments. Thanks again.